Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and tonight was Friday Night Smackdown. As far as tonight's Friday Night Smackdown does go, I thought tonight's show was pretty good. It flowed very well, like a lot of wrestling shows have recently. I feel like I'm saying that a lot over the last couple of weeks. The show flowed well. The show just scooted on by and felt really good. And this one was no different. I thought this was a good episode of SmackDown. I thought it was productive. We got four Money in the Bank qualifying matches. If I'm thinking correctly, and let me go back and look really fast. I think we only have one spot open in each Money in the Bank ladder match. Yeah. There's only one spot left open in each ladder match. There's still like 3 weeks till Money in the Bank. So I think we're going to get some of these. Oh, Santos Escobar's qualified. Well, LA Knight's on SmackDown. How about you guys fight? Ricochet, Shinsuke. Well, we saw that on Monday. So now we need one from SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like one of those. These two are going to fight in Money in the Bank, but they'll fight before. So yeah. And then the main event, I thought it was okay. I actually thought it was kind of the low point of the show because it was very predictable. Oh, here comes Jimmy. Oh, here comes Solo. Oh, Jimmy messed up and screwed Jey. Oh, Jey stopped Solo. Like, I'm not saying this Bloodline stuff sucked, but it was just way, way too predictable. And I saw it coming a mile away. And I'm not trying to be one of those guys. I called it. I predicted this. I said this is what was going to happen. Because trust me, I've seen a lot of those on Twitter recently. Stupid people just being like, oh, well, I told you they were going to give new titles to the women. Oh, I told you this was going to happen. Look, I said Charlotte was coming back soon. And she came back tonight. It's like, guy, you read other people's reports. And then tweeted right after they posted. Because for some reason you live on Twitter. Like, there's like 3 or 4 people I saw today. They're like, man, I made some good predictions over the last couple of weeks. They all came true. Well, no shit. When you're reading other people's Twitters who's reporting things, and then you're sending out cleverly written tweets without sourcing where you heard it from, saying that you're predicting. Yeah, it's whatever. Q-Whoop, when was that announced? I did not see that. Did I miss that for Raw? He's saying it, and I'm not going to say it in case it's not true, which I don't have any reason to doubt you. When was a Money in the Bank qualifier for Monday's Raw announced? Because I didn't see that. I'm going back on WWE's Twitter just to double check. I don't see anything, but I'll just say it. He said commercial breakdown. Okay, I missed. I was making dinner and doing things with my son during SmackDown, so I didn't focus at all as soon as they would go to commercial break. But he's saying that during one of the commercials, there was a Raw commercial, and they announced Riddle versus Priest in a Money in the Bank qualifier. I mean, I'm all down for that. I think that would be a great match. So that should be really fun. But before we get into everything, I want to say thank you. Whether you're watching live or watching later, because you can do so both ways. You can either do one or the other, or you can do both. It doesn't really matter. Remember, you can watch on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or listen on podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, like Cold Cuts KC recently did, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things, like free games, free stuff, 4 games, and you always get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here for Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, you can go over to YouTube, hit that join button down below, and become a channel member. Finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're getting ready for Crime Boss Rock-A City, whether you're getting the free game Payday 2, or getting into that new season of Fortnite that dropped today, use this code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Again, use code PWU NLIMITED at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. I mean, hey, we're getting that new season of Fortnite. It's popping off right now. It's the wild season. You can be Optimus Prime. You can be Optimus Primal. So why not use our code when you're going to buy stuff? And there you go. Speaking of Fortnite, I'll be live, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy, a little bit later tonight after we're done with this podcast, streaming Fortnite with my son. We'll be playing for, I don't know how many hours. We played for about 2.5 this morning on stream, and then we're just going to go tonight until we get tired, basically. We're going to see how far into that battle pass he can get. I'm like level 4.5, but he's been playing off and on all day, so he's like level 16, 17, maybe 20 by the time we start, so we will see. But as far as Friday Night Smackdown does go, the show began with a video recap of the Bloodline drama from last week. Michael Colden welcomed everybody in as Solo and Heyman were already standing in the ring. Heyman began to talk, and the Usos music played, and out would come Jey. Jey had a mic and told Solo that stabbing his brother in the back isn't something he should have done. Jey said that he didn't know if he could forgive Solo for that, and told Solo to say what he needed to say. Heyman then interjected and said Jey has it all wrong. Heyman said that it's not anyone's fault, but Jimmy's fault, because Jimmy made up his own mind. Both Jey and Jimmy can make the right decision, but Jimmy chose not to. Heyman then moved Sikoa behind him and said that he's taking a chance standing so close to Jey. Heyman asked Jey about kicking Roman. I wrote that weird. Heyman asked Jey if Jimmy, I see how I wrote this. Basically said, did Jimmy even run it by you and tell you what he was going to do? When he was going to kick Roman in Night of Champions? No, because Jimmy's always looking out for himself. Heyman said that Jimmy has always resented Jey because Reigns has always liked Jey better, has always been grooming Jey, and sees Jey as the next tribal chief. Heyman said that being the next tribal chief is Jey's fate if he chooses to do so. Because of as much, Heyman said Jimmy resents him. Heyman said that he's going to prove things to Jey, and in order to do so, he's got a match for him tonight to win gold. And, well, he can't be a tag team if he's going to stay in the bloodline. So he's going after the U.S. title. Roman Reigns had it made that he will challenge Austin Theory for the United States Championship tonight. Heyman also said that there's no the Usos anymore. Heyman said after Jey wins the U.S. title, Reigns will publicly groom him to become the next tribal chief. It's like, geez, Paul trying to say that Roman's looking to retire and leave soon? Why doesn't he need another tribal chief now? I mean, hey, Jey's been doing this longer than Roman, so for all we know, Jey's going to retire before Roman. Heyman gave Jey the mic and said Jey said he'd take Heyman up on the offer of the U.S. title match. Heyman then stuck out his hand for a handshake. Jey kind of stood there and looked conflicted before saying that, all right, cool, now I'm going to go to the back. And Heyman's like, whoa, what about your decision? And Jey just leaves the ring. Took the title match, but didn't give him a choice. So then we had our first of 4 Money in the Bank qualifying matches. This match went 9 minutes, and it was a great opening match. It was Santos Escobar and Mustafa Ali. Before the match, LA Knight's music would hit, and Knight sat in on commentary. The match began with Ali and Escobar trading chops. Escobar hit a big shoulder block, and the two went back and forth early on. On the outside, the two traded chops and slaps. Escobar hit Hurricane Rana as the two fought off the apron and he took Ali to the floor, but hit his own head on the ring steps on the way down. Escobar landed a suicide dive through the ropes onto Ali, who was on the outside. Escobar then landed a crossbody on Ali to the outside before the show went to a commercial break. Back from said break, the two were fighting on the top rope. Ali flipped off the top onto the outside, landed right on his feet. Whoo, buddy. Escobar then leapt off the top, but Ali countered with a drop kick to his head. Back inside the ring, Ali went for his 450 splash, but Escobar landed a poison runner for a good near fall. Escobar and then hit a double knee, but Ali kicked out and landed a tornado DDT for good measure for a good near fall. Ali then went to the top, but Escobar cut him off and landed a phantom driver to pick up the victory. Santos Escobar qualified for Money in the Bank. So after the match, the show cut to the back where Jey was. He was approached by Sami Zayn, who said the time he had with him was some of the best times of his life. Zayn talked about making Jey laugh. Zayn said, when the tribal chief takes over, bad things happen. Zayn said that Reigns pushes too far, and Zayn said that he tried to put the bloodline first, but it was never enough for Roman. Zayn said Reigns made Sami not trust his own brother, which is what Reigns is now doing to Jey. Zayn said whatever happens, Jey has to understand that there's consequences, and Jey should listen to his heart and not what others are saying in his ear. Jey said nothing and walked away. Okay. Very interesting. Keith Braxton then stood in the ring and introduced the NXT Tag Team Champions, Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Women stepped into the ring with microphones. Braxton then welcomed them to Smackdown, but Braxton was then cut off by the music of Ronda Rousey. Rousey and Shayna Baszler would make their way out to the ring. Baszler asked Fire and Dawn how much they knew about the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Baszler said she is the reason that those belts were even created. Rousey then chimed in and said, you know what? We're hungry for more gold, but we take what you have. How about we unify both sets of tag titles? Dawn and Fire agreed, and the match was later on announced and made official. The women then brawled to the end of the segment, with Dawn and Fire actually standing tall and getting the best of Baszler and Rousey. So basically, in 2 weeks, WWE will be merging the NXT and main roster Women's Tag Team Championships. I don't know if they're going to call them unified tag titles. I don't know if they're just going to call them WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, but I hope that in doing so, I assume Ronda and Shayna win. Ronda and Shayna show up on an episode of NXT. That'd be pretty badass. Ronda showing up in an episode of NXT and Shayna going back where she's done her best work. And not anything against her on the main roster. It's just because she's not been booked super great. NXT Shayna Baszler is maybe my favorite female stuff in a while in WWE. When Shayna Baszler was the NXT Women's Champion, that may have been some of my favorite female stuff in WWE. In the last, 5-6 years. It was 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The last 6 years or so. Mark Colden threw it to a really, really good Iron Sheik video honoring him in his passing. WWE also made note to let us know that at 6 p.m. this Sunday, A&E will re-air the biography on Iron Sheik that actually came out earlier this year. We then had another Money in the Bank qualifying match. This match only went 2.5 minutes. It was Michin, Mia Yim, and Bayley. The match wasn't really all that great, maybe because they didn't even focus much on the match, and it was more about Karrion Kross and AJ Styles, and this match was kind of just in the background. AJ sat in on commentary as he came out with Michin. The action spilled to the outside at one point, and almost immediately, Bayley mocked Styles until Michin dove through the ropes to take Bayley out. Back in the ring, Michin worked over Bayley and eventually hit a DDT for a 2. Michin kicked Bayley until Bayley went to the apron, where Bayley grabbed Michin by her hair and ran her into the second turnbuckle. Bayley then got back in the ring, hit the rose plant, and pinned her to pick up the victory and qualify for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Then, all of a sudden we hear, oh, Scarlett has just appeared here at ringside. And she's getting in the face of AJ Styles. AJ stands up from commentary and she does her best Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin sprays some sparkle dust in AJ's face. All of a sudden, Karrion Kross appears behind AJ and puts him in a rear naked choke, the Cross jacket. And there we go. It ends the segment. But she did her best Uma Thurman Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin, 1998. Might be the worst Batman movie we've ever had. Goddamn. George Clooney as just a very bad Batman. I like Chris O'Donnell as Robin, though. And Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl wasn't bad. But revisionist history here. When was Alfred's niece ever Batgirl? Maybe I just never read that comic or saw that cartoon episode. But when was Alfred's niece ever Batgirl? I mean, Alicia Silverstone played the role well. I thought Chris O'Donnell was a great Robin. He was a little old for the Robin role because Robin's always a young kid, like early to late teens, but to each their own. Maybe he was supposed to be 17, 18. Seemed a lot older than that. Trust me, I watched those two movies a lot growing up. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Had them on VHS, had them on Rewind a lot. I liked Val Kilmer as Batman. I thought Val Kilmer was a great Batman. We're getting off on a tangent, though. Magnalore says, I was thinking Poison Ivy from Injustice 2. Well, I only played a little bit of Injustice 2 and forgot Poison Ivy's even in it, but I've seen Batman and Robin probably 200 times. Maybe not 200, but over 100 times. And so she opens up the fucking makeup deal with the mirror and whatnot, and then gets the guy to do whatever she wants. That's what I thought. But this does set up next week AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. Then Bianca Belair is backstage in Adam Pearce's office. Pearce asked Bianca to stay backstage during Asuka's ceremony, her championship presentation. She's like, well, you're just going to let Asuka do what she does, and she's disrespected me and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, you're going to get your rematch. Like, you're in line to get the rematch. Don't worry about that. But I just want everything to go smoothly for this ceremony tonight. And she's like, all right, fine, whatever. I won't get involved. Then we had the Asuka Championship ceremony celebration, whatever you want to call it. And shit did go down, but not with Bianca. Anna Pearce came out and introduced Asuka and then presented her with the brand new WWE Women's Championship. New belt is basically the exact same as the old belt and a ripoff of Roman's new belt, where it's got, the WWE logo on the front, but behind that, the leather is painted gold, and that's a white strap. Roman's is the same, but on a black strap, and says undisputed instead of women's. And they all look like the same of the old belt. So now I'm wondering, are we getting a championship celebration on Raw Monday? And what is Rhea's belt going to look like? Seth's on a white strap? Probably. Anyways. Anna Pearce reveals the new belt. He goes to put it around Asuka's waist, and when we hear bum, 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 out comes Charlotte Flair, the returning Charlotte Flair, who we have not seen since WrestleMania, when she lost the SmackDown Women's Championship to Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair makes her way out to the ring. She grabs a microphone. Charlotte receives a nice pop from the crowd. And Pearce asks Charlotte, what are you doing here? You need to get in line. And Charlotte goes, get in line? I started the line. I don't need to get in line. And the crowd's wooing and everything. She's like, I don't wait in line. I made the line. I started the line, this and that. And then she did a woo. The crowd ate this up. Charlotte then looks at Asuka and goes, I want to challenge you for that belt. And Asuka starts yelling in Japanese. She's, ah! And Charlotte's like, oh, really now? Like she knew what Asuka said. And Asuka's just like, you know what? I accept. And Pearce is like, wait. Asuka tries to go for the mist. Charlotte moves out of the way, kicks Asuka in the head, slams her head on the little table podium thing they had in the middle of the ring, and Asuka retreats. There we go. Now the big question is, what's going to happen here with Bianca? Bianca was already told she gets the rematch. She gets a title shot. She wasn't told you get the next one, though, because as we learned later on, in 2 weeks on SmackDown, which this is kind of confusing. We'll talk about that here in a second. In 2 weeks on SmackDown, Asuka will defend the WWE Women's Tag. This is gonna take a minute for me to get used to, because saying WWE Women's, automatically my brain goes to tag team, and not saying Raw or SmackDown. We've been saying that since 2016. Let me take a breath. Asuka will be defending the WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair in 2 weeks. But is it really in 2 weeks? Or is it just not in the O2? Because they started announcing a bunch of stuff for next week and the week after. And Michael Cole says, also in 2 weeks, when we will be in the O2 Arena, the unification of the women's tag team titles and the women's championship will be on the line. Okay, so in 2 weeks, they're not in the O2. That's in 3 weeks. And I see people in the live chat saying in 3 weeks, but I have to pull this up on the screen. I have to pull this up on the screen, though. Okay, never mind. So the graphic says in 3 weeks. I thought the graphic said in 2 weeks. So it is in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks. Michael Cole was wrong. You got the building right. You got the weeks wrong. So now here's my other question. Now let me double check. Yes. Okay. Got it. Next week. And then in 3 weeks, we get the title matches. So what does that mean for Bianca? Are we going to have Bianca added to this over the next 2 weeks? We know next week, Charlotte will be a guest on the Grayson Waller effect. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I thought that was an okay way to bring Charlotte back. We're in the back with Jey. And Paul Heyman approaches, saying how Jey acted earlier. Good cliffhanger. Heyman said, I need your passport and your suit measurements because, well, you are part of the bloodline. And you're going to take Roman's private jet, which when you become tribal chief will be your private jet all the way to London and Money in the Bank. And Jey's not saying anything. He goes, also next week, we're going to have, well, a triple ceremony. The Undisputed Champion Roman Reigns will be here on the show. We'll be focusing on you, the new United States Champion, and your public acknowledgement of Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns basically saying that you are next in line to be tribal chief. Jey kind of seems excited about all these. Like, oh, yeah? Yeah? Honor me? Okay, cool. And he's like, he said, but why do you look so excited, OG? And Heyman's like, what do you mean? He's like, you know, if I'm in the bloodline, that means you're not. And all of a sudden, Heyman pulls up his phone, and I go, what the what? Huh? If Jey's in the bloodline, I'm confused here. Somebody let me know what I've missed. So Jey tells Heyman, if I'm in the bloodline, that means you're not. Because he says, why are you excited? Because if I'm in the bloodline, you're not. Is that basically Jey saying once I become tribal chief, you're fired? That's the only thing I can think of. Because I have no idea what that line meant. So, yeah, I don't know what Jey meant there by, if I'm in the bloodline, you're not. So, huh? But as we move forward, Adam Pearce was shown backstage on the phone until Bianca Belair interrupted him. Belair gave him the old stare down. And reminding him, you know, she's in line for a rematch. Okay, he never said you're next in line, buddy. Other than let us know that NXT champion Carmelo Hayes, along with Trick Williams, well, they're sitting front row for tonight's SmackDown, more specifically, the next match. And I loved this. I loved that they were out there because we know that next week on, well, not next week, but eventually coming up on NXT, Carmelo's probably going to defend that NXT Championship against Baron Corbin. So why not build that up on a main roster show? Why not build that up on a bigger platform than just NXT? And speaking of Baron Corbin, he did take on Butch in a Money in the Bank qualifying match that went 1 minute and 45 seconds. Before the match, Corbin grabbed a microphone and taunted Hayes and Williams at ringside. He said, I'll come over there and smack you around like I smacked your boy around, to Carmelo. The bell then rang, and Butch instantly attacked Corbin. Butch landed a tornado DDT and got a 2 off of it. Butch went for a moonsault, but Corbin moved and started pounding on Butch. Butch came back by doing the finger spot on Corbin, the finger break spot. Corbin then responded with a stiff hit to take Butch down. Corbin then started yelling over at Carmelo Hayes. He then went for a choke slam, but Butch kind of rolled through it and, well, hit him with a very cool little like body manipulation style pin. He picks up the victory. Butch will be in Money in the Bank. After the match, Corbin went to ringside and tried to punch Hayes, who jumped the barricade. Jessica Carr broke them up, the referee, before more security and referees ran down to break it all up. And there we go. So, yeah, Corbin tried fighting Hayes and Trick on his own. He gets broken up, and they told us, hey, these two are feuding on NXT. You want to see more of what's going to happen? You might want to go watch NXT. Backstage, the Brutes were being interviewed until they were interrupted by Corbin when Corbin says, hey, that wasn't fair. We didn't even get time to really get that match started. I want a rematch. And then all of a sudden, Corbin was attacked by Cameron Grimes. He was thrown into the door, the rolling bay door. And then Grimes just walked off, and they kind of laughed at Corbin. Like, what? Okay. Well, then Michael Cole tells us we've got one more qualifying match tonight for Money in the Bank. This one is Shotzi and Io Sky. This match went 2.5 minutes. So the match began with Sky attacking Shotzi until Shotzi fought back and suplexed Sky. Sky fought back and stomped on Shotzi's arm. Sky went to the top, but Shotzi moved and Shotzi took control, complete with a double arm drag suplex and a splash into the corner. Shotzi hit a suicide dive on Sky, who was on the outside. Remember, Bayley's at ringside. Shotzi went to the top. Bayley distracted Shotzi. Referee turned away, and Bayley pushes Shotzi off the top rope. Io Sky then capitalized with a moonsault and picked up the victory. Io will now be in Money in the Bank. So here's what we have so far for Money in the Bank. As far as the women's Money in the Bank ladder match does go, we do have Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and one more woman to be named. I would assume that's a Raw. Yeah, that would be a Raw wrestler because we already have 1, 2, 3 from SmackDown. As far as the men's Money in the Bank ladder match does go, we have Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, and Butch. And we do now know that that final men's spot will be going to either Matt Riddle or Damian Priest. I can really see it being either guy. That's a tough one to predict. If I am going to predict, though, I'll say Priest, because he's on a upward trajectory right now. So after this match, we cut to an interview with Austin Theory, who was like, hey, I have to defend my title tonight. I was the last one to find out about it. But it's fine, because I always stay ready. I'm always ready to go, and I'm going to beat Jey Uso just like I beat John Cena. And I'm like, you think you're the OC, don't you? Because you just keep bringing up, I beat John Cena. Beat John Cena. Theory then said, Paul Heyman's ever in the market of looking for a new client, we should check no further than Austin Theory Live. Or he should check no further, or he should check out Austin Theory Live. So this was a good segment. The next one is all setting up tag team challengers for the tag titles. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are backstage. All of a sudden, they're cut off by Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly mocked Zayn and Owens for, well, the way they looked. They were then interrupted by the Brawling Brutes, and then the Good Brothers, and then the LWO, and then the Street Profits, and Owens just flips his fucking lid and goes, "What the hell's going on? Why are all these people around me? I don't know what's going on. I can't think. I can't work like this." And all of a sudden, Adam Pearce walks up and goes, "Whoa, hey, what's wrong? What's going on?" And all these different teams are like, "I want to show the tag titles. No, I want to show the tag." He's like, "They want to fight us. They want shots, but I can't think right now." And Adam Pearce is like, "You know what? I've got an idea. Next week on SmackDown, all these teams will enter a gauntlet match, and the winning team can face you two for the tag team titles." And there we go. So we're getting a gauntlet match next week. Pretty deadly. The Brawling Brutes, which it looks like it's going to be Sheamus and Ridge, Street Profits, the LWO, which it's going to be Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild, and then the OC, Gallows and Anderson. 5-team gauntlet next week. Winning team then moves on to challenge for the tag team titles. Also, speaking of next week, we already talked about some of this, but the Grayson Waller effect with guest Charlotte Flair, Michin and AJ Styles will team up to take on Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Then I'm missing something. I know I'm missing something. I only said 3 things. I'm pretty sure. Oh, and Roman Reigns will be on next week's show. I knew there was a 4th thing. And then in 3 weeks, and it's not 2 weeks like Michael Cole said, in 3 weeks, Rousey and Baszler will take on Fire and Dawn to unify the tag titles, and Asuka will defend the women's championship against Charlotte Flair. Then we had our main event match. They went 8.5 minutes, but ended with still 5 or 6 minutes left in the show, and they filled time like crazy. So Theory began the match with a side headlock and a shoulder tackle. Uso came back with a clothesline to Theory, and he clotheslined him over to the top rope. Uso threw Theory across the commentary table and then back in the ring. Theory was working over Uso after a break with a headlock inside the ring. Uso got back to his feet, and the two traded blows. Uso got the best of it and went for a spear, but Theory countered into a rolling dropkick for a 2. Theory slammed Uso and got a 2 off of it. Theory set it for an A-Town down, but Jey fought out and landed an enziguri. Jey hit Theory, and then Theory hit the ref, and well, the ref was down. What happens next? You guessed it. Uso went to the top rope and hit a splash. The crowd counted 3, but the ref was down and not able to count. Then out of nowhere, Pretty Deadly would come out and attack Jey. This then led to Jimmy showing up and super kicking both members of Pretty Deadly. Solo would then run down and grabbed Jimmy before he can do anything. Before he can do anything, Jey stopped him. Jimmy then super kicked Solo. Well, he tried to super kick Solo. Solo moved, and Jimmy super kicked Jey. Solo and Jimmy then start brawling. They fall to the outside. The ref finally starts to wake up. Austin Theory scampers back into the ring, gets on top of Jey. 1, 2, 3, bada bing, bada boom. Still, U.S. champion Austin Theory. After the match, Jimmy tried talking to Jey in the ring. Jimmy tried to help Jey up, and Jey pushes him away. Jimmy tried to explain that he didn't mean to kick him. He went to go for Solo, and Jey just walks away. Again, not talking like he did all night, other than in that opening segment. People talk to him, and he doesn't say much. Heyman then apologized for things going down the way they did. Jey looked very disgusted at everything and walked off. Heyman then said, call Roman Reigns. And then there were still like 5 minutes left in the show. And they start going, well, that was very interesting. So next week, we do know that Roman Reigns will be on the show. And we know that this is happening, and this is happening. And then in 2 weeks, and then finally the show goes off the air. And the Fox Sports app says, thank you for watching. But with that, guys, that was a Friday Night SmackDown. Pretty good episode of SmackDown. You know what I thought of the show? Now it's time to hear what you guys out there in listening and watching land thought of tonight's show. With that, let's go check the polls, refresh them all right here. A boom. A boom, 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 boom. All right, as far as the Twitter poll does go, 57% liked the show, 38% thought it was just all right, and 3% did not like it. As far as the YouTube community poll does go, 77% liked it, 18% thought it was just all right, and 5% did not like it. Some of the comments here, this person says, loved it. This person says, tonight was all right, 7 out of 10. And then we got one of them dumbasses, oh, didn't watch. Well, then don't fucking comment. Looking at the YouTube live poll, 75% liked the show, 20% thought it was just all right, and 5% did not like it. Over here on Twitch, 100% liked the show. With that, guys, that's going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining me here, whether you're watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or listening on podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. But the fun's not done. The next 30 minutes or so, we'll be live over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Timmy Buddy. My son and I are going to do like a marathon stream all night, playing that new season of Fortnite. We're going to see how far through the battle pass we can actually get before we get tired and want to go to bed. We don't know how long we're going to be up for. We don't know how long we're going to stream for. We're just going to keep on keeping on. Hopefully we get some wins, because we didn't get any this morning. We sucked balls this morning. Hopefully we can get some wins and unlock a bunch of shit. Because, you know, that number, that level 100 is Optimus Prime. And that's what I want. Optimus Prime. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. And hopefully I see some of you guys in a little bit. Twitch.tv/Timmy Buddy. Have a good one, guys.